Live back with us tonight, you're in Focus on Newzroom Afrika, Channel 405. Thanks for staying on. Cosatu has called for the precautionary suspension of UNISA Vice-Chancellor Professor Puleng LenkaBula. The Trade Union Federation has slammed negative media reports about the university, along with charges of inability by UNISA to resolve long-running labor disputes. The Federation has observed ongoing labor action over the last 3 months. Joining us now to explain how that impacts on the management of Professor LenkaBula is Cosatu Gauteng chairperson Amos Monyela. Amos, good evening. Thank you very much for your time and joining us here on In Focus. Why is Cosatu calling for the suspension of the Vice-Chancellor?
Good evening to you and your viewers. As per our statement, you would have seen that in the past 3 months, or we can even date back even starting from last year, where there were some labor challenges at the university. But that's not the only thing that is happening there. The issue of governance. If you remember that there is a report called the Colgan Report, which speaks about the renovation of the house of the VC and the excessive budget that has been used to renovate the house. You go to the Bowman's report, there's almost 55 million which has been spent on laptop without following procurement processes, despite the Labour Forum at UNISA advising and agreeing with Council that the process that should be followed was the process to purchase laptops for workers. But then what happened through the directive of the VC, we are told, is that workers were given money to go and purchase laptops, and that's quite bizarre to even deposit money into the accounts of workers for them to purchase a laptop for them. But then there is also a crisis of management at the university. So we can confirm nationally, in the national TV, that management at UNISA is divided, and there are those who are going together with the VC, and then there are those who on a receiving end. We can call it a paging, because a number of them have been suspended for raising critical issues as it relates to management of UNISA. So you obviously know that almost 5 worker leaders have been dismissed, others have been placed on suspension, and we try to intervene, Cosatu, to make sure that the university and how engage on these processes in order to have an amicable resolution to the problems, but then at vain. So we've now read media reports that the VC was appointed even though she was not qualifying for that position. So she only had almost 16 to 18 months experience in executive management. So she was appointed in any case. So we're saying Council must explain to South Africa as to how does it go to the point where you appoint someone who does not meet the minimum requirement of a post. So we are not surprised of the current challenges of management within the institution, because you took someone who does not have a caliber to lead an international institution like UNISA, the biggest distance learning institution in Africa. It is upon all of those negative reports. There are reports, articles that are written by Advocate Manya, who's also contesting the manner in which he was dismissed, and a number of issues which also raise to examinations, where examinations are not properly conducted. Some of the results have not been released, results of exams written in May. So it's an array of lack of leadership and lack of management in the side of the VC. So therefore we're calling Council, because the Minister of Education and Innovation has appointed an independent assessor to assess the situation in UNISA. So if you appoint somebody to assess the situation, you honestly are suspicious that something is happening. So therefore somebody must go there and independently investigate. So our call for the precautionary suspension of the VC is that she is the party concerned. She's a party that is facing these arrays of allegations.
She believes, though, that this is part of a campaign, a bid to discredit her. In fact, she says that she was holding accountable the departments that put together the quotations, and this is why she's being attacked in such a manner. In fact, that is where the probe should be directed to.
I don't think there is a campaign here. If there are negative reports, South Africa must react to those as organized labor should, as Cosatu should. So there is no campaign. So there's nobody who says the VC must be dismissed. But in the VC, there must be an investigation, and the minister is obliged, appointed and assess what is wrong with that thing. In South Africa, if there are allegations, so therefore we should be able to go through the process of investigation. There is nothing that should be, when you have to account and push blame. She must not play like politicians all the time. When there's something that is against them, then they'll push blame to other people. She's a decision maker of the institution, and that decision, when she takes the decision, she's not supposed to take some of the decision as an individual. She has to go through council and other processes to take those. So she's the head of the institution. She's the one who must account on what is happening in the institution. There is no witch hunt. There's no targeting. There's just a process of investigation which was put in place. So therefore, if you are workers at some point, when allegations are so serious, you are put on precautionary suspension so that you don't intervene with the investigation processes. And our view of it to precautionary suspension is on the basis of a heavy-handed. So the assessor might not have a conducive space to investigate because the person will be there, and then workers know how the person behaves. So there's no any other thing that it's a campaign. It's not a campaign. It's just seeking accountability, and we'll do so without fear or favor.
Yeah. One would say you're discounting some of what she has achieved. I mean, others would say she has won some excellence in terms of awards, in terms of her research, the impact that she's had at the institution. You're discounting all these things and all of a sudden questioning her bona fides.
Well, I haven't seen anybody who celebrates what she's supposed to be doing. She's appointed precisely to do what she has done. And it doesn't mean that when you have achieved what you have achieved, then if there are allegations, serious allegations against you, we must base your suspension or non-suspension on the basis of what you've achieved. How many people have achieved on what they've been doing, but then they faced allegations, they were investigated. Some of them are in the dock now. They did well where they were. But then there are some of the decisions that they take that are not in line with governance, that are not in line with the policies of an institution. They must take it to book. So we must not shy away from this. So you can be as good as you can, even yourself. You can be as good as you are, and then you do one mistake, which is putting the News Africa into disrepute. Then you will be taken to book. It doesn't matter what good have you done, but then the laws are the laws. They must be followed. And everybody, there is no one who's bigger than the law. Even there is no one who's bigger than the policies of UNISA and statute of UNISA. There's no one, irrespective of what we've done.
Why is it then, do you believe, besides these simultaneous multiple failures which you have recounted, has the management systems of UNISA not being able to deal with this situation?
Who is the leader of the management of UNISA, for that matter? So the leader of the management of UNISA is the VC. So all managers report to the VC. The strategies of the VC must be able to counter everything that is happening at UNISA. Everybody receives an instruction from the VC. The VPs, everyone receives the instructions from there. She put her own strategy in order to manage the institution. And if management is failing, it is her responsibility to deal with managers who are failing. If she herself is failing, council must take responsibility.
What is your program of action then as far as this particular matter is concerned? I mean, the minister has already instituted a probe. You are calling for her to be suspended. Should this not happen, what is your program of action?
We'll decide on a way forward. Already there is an action that we've taken at UNISA, which resulted to UNISA coming back to the negotiation table with the union when we're dealing with labor matters. Now we're dealing with an array of issues. So we'll sit down and look as to whether what program of action should we take. But then we're not, taking away the possibility that we can mobilize our members and members at UNISA to raise these issues. But then we are hoping that the council, as responsible as it is, because if council fails, we think that council must be disbanded because it would have failed in its fiduciary responsibilities and governance responsibilities. I think we are also worried about the silence of the council as it relates to matters that are happening at UNISA. So we'll definitely have no choice but then to also call for the head of the entire council, starting with the chairperson of the council, to resign.
Amos Monyela, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on, chairperson of Cosatu there in Gauteng, calling for heads to roll.